Dan the Houseman here, working on an American Standard toilet. First thing I'm going to do is turn off the water. Then we'll give it a flush. Today what we're working on is this mechanism right here, known as the flush mechanism, okay? It's attached to the arm with a pin and a cotter pin. Now you have to be extremely careful not to lose either one of these, especially if you have this up. It can bounce around, end up going down through this hole. You're never going to get it back. So watch closely. I put my finger on this pin. Then I find this little tiny cotter pin that's on the rod, and I push it up and out. It's not easy because it's very, very thin. And I got to be careful not to drop it, because that's just how small it is. You see that? It's a little guy. You don't want to lose this. Okay? So, that's part number one you have to be careful with. This is part number two. Okay? We set those off to the side where they're nice and safe. Then we go after this mechanism here. What I do is I grab a hold of it and I turn what I call Napoleon's hat. You'll see what I mean in a minute. One of the things I do is I take the chain, I wrap it around my fingers a little bit so it's up and out of the way. Otherwise it seems like it always wants to get tangled and, be an issue. So once you have that all the way unscrewed, you can pull it out, and you can pull out the top half and this. Now you can see why I call it Napoleon's hat. All right. Now when you go to tighten this back down, be aware of these little hooks. They love to grab the chain from underneath, hook it and get stuck. So make sure you keep the chain up and out of the way as you go to tighten it back down. This ring is in good shape, but let's say we're replacing, we could take this one off. You see these little grooves that you see right here, all here? Those grooves mate up with little slots, or I should say arms, that are sticking out, and you have to get this turned where it pops down, and this is your guide, okay? If you don't get those raised pieces into these grooves, this is going to sit up, and it's not going to sit well. It's not going to seat. It's not going to work right. So that's the most important thing you really have to know about putting it back together, because this does not fit into a ring or anything like that like some others do. It just sits there. Okay? Now, I'm going to look down in here and show you this piece here, and you can see those pieces I'm talking about that you have to make sure that this aligns with. So we take this, we put it back in here, we get it lined up, we make sure that it's sitting in there the right way. Sometimes it's easier if you lift up on this piece so you can kind of control how it goes together a little better. Okay? If you can take this piece and drop it in there and get those grooves where they're supposed to be, the top will not turn because it's where it's supposed to be. Okay? Now, it's squeezing on this rubber. So if you can pinch both of these sides, the top and the bottom, and you can feel that the rubber is caught in there, it's being pinched by those two pieces as you press them together, you know you have it properly assembled, you know that the grooves are where they're supposed to be. Now mind you, when I put the Napoleon back in, I've got the chain in my hand. I don't have it hanging down loosey-goosey. That way, it's not in my way, and it's not getting stuck where it shouldn't be. Do not over-tighten this thing. You don't have to go crazy with it, okay? It actually has some pops that tell you that you're tight enough. That was pop number one, pop number two. And a little bit more, stop. You don't have to go any more than that. It's pinched, okay? Now, I take this guy here, and I put it through this handle hole right here, and I keep my finger on it so that it cannot be pushed back out when I put this guy, this ring, you see right here, on that pin. I like to turn the pin so that the hole is facing upward. That way I can see where to put this cotter pin really easily. If it's off to the side, it's a little bit more difficult. With my old man eyes, I like easy. So I take this, I put into that hole, and I push it down. And just like that, it's where it's got to be, okay? Now, this is on the first notch. I have it pushed, but you know what? What I'd rather do is I'd rather have it all the way down, like that, okay? So that you know it's not going to come loose and come out of there. That's just me. That's how I roll. Let's give this thing a try. Water on. Fire away, Scotty. You can see it works very easily. The guide for keeping it in place is actually up underneath. There's a rod that this Napoleon's hat screwed onto, sort of like as a nut, if you will. And the weight of the water, so that you know the physics of this, the weight of the water pushes down on this whole piece. Just like when you're in a swimming pool and you feel like your eardrums are about to burst and you're down by the bottom. Well, that kind of hydrostatic pressure is being pushed down on that seal. The weight of the water is pushing down on it. As the water is filling, you want to check to see your fill level. Make sure it's not filling too low or too high. It's perfect. Now, listen closely. You don't hear any dripping, you don't hear any you don't hear water getting past that seal. Now I'm going to let it flush a little bit. Then I'm going to push it back down. Okay. That way you see it flush several times. We're done. That would have essentially been changing out the seal for an American standard type toilet that has this kind of a flushing mechanism. Now you know how to do it.